Welcome to my channel, WarChronicle. We dive deep into forgotten conflicts, legendary strategies, and the bravery of soldiers across time. From ancient wars to modern battles, discover the truth behind the headlines and the legends behind the lines. Subscribe now and relive the chronicles of war. As always, I want to thank everybody who watches these videos, and a special thanks to my channel members who get to vote on which aircraft go head-to-head every week. During its almost 50-year service life, the F-15 has racked up an impressive 104 wins and 0 losses in air-to-air combat.
Nice.
But why is the F-15 such a dominant platform? The answer is simple. Who will find the other first? The Eagle's massive APG-66 radar is quickly scanning the skies around him, looking for any sign of his opponent. The Eagle's radar operator calls out, "Fox 2, Fox 2, Fox 2, meaning that the aircraft is within range of the Eagle's AIM-50 Phoenix missiles. He's pulling off maneuvers that very few pilots could hope to even dream of. But they're working, and the Eagle is beginning to lose him. Although the flanker was more maneuverable, it couldn't shake the Eagle's long-range weapons. The Eagle wins this duel. However, if we were to do this fight again under different circumstances, the results may be different. For example, if the fight takes place at lower altitudes, or if the flanker's given the ability to carry long-range missiles, the outcome of the fight could easily be reversed. This is a great example of how important it is to know your opponent's strengths and weaknesses, and to exploit them in combat. But despite the flanker's best efforts, the Eagle's superior technology and tactics proved to be too much, and it was ultimately victorious in this duel. Just when the Eagle pilot thinks he might actually lose the flanker, he sees his chance. The flanker makes a slight mistake, a small lapse in judgment that gives the Eagle the opening he needs. The Eagle pilot fires again, this time with the AIM-9 Sidewinder. The missile is launched, and it heads towards the flanker like a heat-seeking missile. The flanker pilot sees the missile coming and tries to evade, but it's too late. The missile hits the flanker, and the resulting explosion blows the flanker out of the sky. The Eagle pilot watches as the flanker crashes into the ground below. He knows that he won a hard-fought victory against a worthy opponent. The Eagle pilot acknowledges the call and releases 2 of the missiles, watching as they head toward their target. The flanker pilot sees the missiles coming and pushes his aircraft hard, banking away from the line of fire. But the missiles are fast and accurate, and one of them scores a direct hit on the flanker. The impact sends the flanker into a spin, but the aircraft is tough, and it's able to stay in the fight. The flanker pilot quickly recovers from the maneuver and pushes his aircraft hard. Trying to get out of range of the Eagle, he knows that he can't win a dogfight with this bird. So he needs to get out of there as fast as possible. The Eagle pilot gives chase, keeping the flankers in his sights and waiting for his opportunity to deliver a final blow. The flanker pilot isn't as lucky. His less powerful radar is not as good in the long-range detection of enemy aircraft, and he's actually flying in a bit of bad weather. Suddenly, the Eagle's radar operator picks up a blip on his scope and quickly calls out, "Bear in the 2 o'clock position, bandit range 50 miles. The Eagle pilot acknowledges the call and begins a slow, controlled climb to get himself into a better position for an interception. He knows that the flankers are typically faster at lower altitudes, so he wants to make sure that he catches him at a place where he has the advantage. The flanker pilot, meanwhile, is struggling to keep his aircraft in the fight. The bad weather is making it difficult to see, and he is worried that the Eagle might get a lock on him before he can react. He pushes his aircraft hard, pushing through the clouds in an attempt to get out into the open where he can see and maneuver better. It was purpose-built for one reason and one reason only: to kill other airplanes. The F-15's primary role is, and always has been, as an interceptor. In fact, when the F-15 first entered service, it was uneven capable of carrying any air-to-ground weapons, because the Air Force didn't think that ground pounders should be left to the new kid on the block. Instead, they wanted the F-15 to intercept Soviet bombers before they could reach American airspace. To achieve this role, the F-15 was given a pair of powerful APG-66 radars, which at the time were the most powerful radars ever fitted to an aircraft. These radars, along with the F-15's incredible M61A1 Vulcan 20mm cannon, made short work of any bomber foolish enough to enter into its crosshairs. For today's episode, we're going to go head-to-head with 2 classic fighters from the late Cold War era, the F-15 Eagle and the Su-27 flanker. The F-15 Eagle needs no introduction. It's famously dubbed the greatest fighter ever built by the U.S. Air Force. The Eagle really does deserve this title. In fact, the flanker was originally intended to be a fleet defender, similar to America's F-14 Tomcat. But during development, the Soviet Union realized that the F-14 was not as formidable as they thought it was, and set about trying to create a new and better version of the Tomcat. As a result, the Su-27 was designed from the outset to perform a variety of roles, including fleet defense, air superiority, and even some strike capabilities. This resulted in the Su-27 being more of a jack-of-all-trades and master of none. When compared to the F-15, the Su-27 had inferior radar systems and air-to-air weaponry. But what it lacked in offense, it more than made up for in defense. The Su-27 was designed with maneuverability and survivability in mind. Its large control surfaces and powerful engines allowed it to pull off maneuvers that would make any F-15 pilot's head spin. And although the flanker lacks an M61A1 Vulcan, it makes up for it with an incredibly powerful and accurate 30mm twin-barreled cannon. On the other hand, the Su-27 was not a purpose-built fighter like the F-15. As we begin our duel, both pilots are flying their aircraft at high altitudes in an attempt to get a jump on the opposition. But as fate would have it, the Eagle gets a lock on the flanker, just as he breaks out of the clouds. The flanker's pilot, desperate to escape, begins to push his aircraft to its limits. The Eagle's ability to carry long-range missiles proved to be its key strength in the fight. What did you guys think of today's episode? Let me know in the comments down below.